Hello and welcome to Your World. I'm Uli Herdi and let's begin our first segment of Your World. And we begin our first segment of Your World, starting with G20 Summit in Johannesburg, South Africa, where Vice President Gibran urged G20 leaders to strengthen global solidarity and leadership in facing growing multidimensional crisis. And also spokesperson of the military force headquarters, Major General Freddy Ardiansyah, affirmed joint personnel of the military forces, the Army, Navy, and Air Force are ready to join the composite brigade that will be deployed on a peace mission to Gaza, Palestine.
Vice President Gibran Rakabuming urged G20 leaders to strengthen global solidarity and leadership amid multidimensional crises. He highlighted Indonesia's priorities under President Prabowo, including food security and the Free Nutritious Meal Program, as a strategic investment for the nation's future. Gibran also emphasized Indonesia's experience in facing more than 3,000 natural disasters annually and called on the G20 to uphold humanity amid crises in Gaza, Ukraine, Sudan, and the Sahel. The UN Secretary-General called on G20 members to show leadership in building a more inclusive global economy, closing the climate adaptation gap, and ending global conflicts. He said that G20 holds significant influence to drive peace and equity, underscored the need for fair representation for Africa, and warned that temperature limits would be exceeded without urgent action. He urged the G20 to use its leverage to support ceasefire efforts and peace in Sudan. The two-day G20 summit in Johannesburg concluded with a 120-point declaration calling for multilateral cooperation, inclusive growth, and support for developing countries. President Cyril Ramaphosa said the declaration showed shared goals still outweigh differences and noted this was the first G20 summit ever held in Africa. South Africa hands the president to the US in the 2025. The G20 Leaders Declaration confirmed South Korea will preside over the G20 in 2028, marking the summit's 20th anniversary. President Lee Jae-myung said he would carry out the role with a strong sense of responsibility. His office said he would also hold the presidency of the U.S. Security Council and APEC during his term. Lee also called for greater solidarity on climate and disaster readiness. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said the genocide in Gaza cannot be overlooked and stated that he holds Prime Minister Netanyahu and Israel responsible for the killing of 60,000 people. He said Turkey would continue to speak out against the atrocities. Military spokesperson Major General Freddy Ardiansyah said Army, Navy, and Air Force personnel are ready to join a composite brigade for a peace mission to Gaza. The force has prepared health and engineering units, transport aircraft, and warships. Military Chief Agus Subianto said 20,000 personnel would join 3 composite brigades after a surveillance team assesses conditions in Gaza. UN Women reported that women in Gaza continue struggling for survival amid ongoing violence, severe shortages, and constant displacement. The agency said women would face hunger, trauma, and harsh conditions in makeshift tents, with food 4 times more expensive than before the war. Over 57,000 women now head households, and more than 12,000 women and girls live with war-related disabilities. The agency called for sustained ceasefire, aid access, and psychosocial support. The UN Human Rights Office said Israeli strikes in Lebanon have killed at least 127 civilians since the November 2024 ceasefire, with attacks increasing throughout the year. Recent strikes have destroyed homes, roads, and factories, including a deadly attack on the Ain al-Hilwa refugee camp that killed 13 civilians. The UN called for impartial investigations and accountability for all parties. Palestine's ambassador Riyad Mansour called on states to recognize the state of Palestine, noting Palestinians have recognized Israel since 1993. Senior UN officials emphasized the need for a credible path to Palestinian self-determination, the right of return, and a full implementation of the ceasefire. The Secretary General's office said there is hope for peace and dignity for both Palestinians and Israelis. The meeting also highlighted ongoing human rights violations in Gaza and the West Bank. Indonesia has formally ended the type 2 polio outbreak after no virus was detected since June 2024. WHO declared the outbreak over on 19 November 2025, calling it a significant step toward global polio eradication. The outbreak began in 2022 and spread across several provinces before the final case in South Papua. International assessors found that Indonesia's response met high-quality standards. The Health Ministry committed to maintaining polio-free status through strong immunizations and surveillance system. Queen Maxima of the Netherlands is set to take part in a series of strategic meetings in Indonesia, including a meeting with President Prabowo to discuss inclusive financial collaboration. The visit, held in her role as the UN Secretary General's Special Advocate for Financial Health, includes events with OJK in Jakarta and a factory visit in Solo. The 4-day trip aims to boost cooperation on financial inclusion and support Indonesia's efforts in developing safe, inclusive, and impactful financial services.
Ninth ABU Media Summit on Climate Action and Disaster Prevention, hosted by the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, or SLRC, in Colombo from 25 to 27 November 2025, highlights the vital role of media in building resilience against climate change and natural disasters. And meanwhile, UNESCO launches a pioneering project to support sustainable development through culture in Tunisia.
The Maritime and Fisheries Ministry held an investment and business matching event in Jakarta, inviting foreign investors to explore opportunities in Indonesia's maritime and fishery sectors. Seaweed and salt emerged as top commodities of interest, with officials highlighting seaweed as one of Indonesia's leading maritime champion products. The country is home to nearly 1,000 seaweed varieties, making it a major food and non-food commodity, with global demand expected to reach up to 43 million tons by 2029. Seaweed can also be processed into high-value products, including eco-friendly straws, and has recently attracted interest from Dutch investors. The 9th Abu Media Summit on Climate Action and Disaster Prevention opened in Colombo, hosted by the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation from November 25th to 27th. The event, held under the theme Building Resilience Through Media, underscores how broadcasters can help communities prepare for extreme weather and climate-related risk. Delegates emphasize the media's critical role in awareness building, disaster preparedness, and regional unity, particularly across the Asia-Pacific, home to some of the world's most climate-vulnerable populations. The summit serves as a platform for media organizations to share best practices, boost capacity, and strengthen collaboration to support communities facing intensifying environmental challenges. Broadcasters from more than 65 countries gathered at the 9th Abu Media Summit in Colombo, calling for deeper regional cooperation in climate reporting. The gathering highlights the urgency of improving early warning systems, science-based reporting, and newsroom preparedness as extreme weather events intensify across the Asia-Pacific. The team Building Resilience Through Media framed discussion on how journalists can help communities understand climate risk and drive long-term behavioral change. The summit is expected to issue region-wide recommendations promoting cross-border content collaboration, disaster-ready newsrooms, and stronger support for broadcasters working during emergencies. The Ho Chi Minh City Economic Forum opened with a strong focus on the role of young people in driving Vietnam's digital and green transformation. The Deputy Prime Minister emphasized that youth are central to innovation and said the government is committed to empowering them in the years ahead. WWF Managing Director Stephen Mergenthaler also addressed the forum, highlighting global digital trends and urging young Vietnamese to embrace technology as a tool for sustainable growth. The forum, held from November 25th to 27th, serves as a platform for global dialogue on key economic issues. This year's theme, Green Transformation in the Digital Era, centers on strategies for smart manufacturing, low-carbon logistics, digital urban services, and open innovation. China's robotics industry continues to expand rapidly, with hundreds of thousands of robot companies deploying technology across the country. These systems are transforming the manufacturing sector, helping China maintain its edge in smart production over the next decade. But beyond factories, robots are increasingly entering daily life, providing new support systems for healthcare and personal mobility. A growing range of devices can be activated with a simple command, including exoskeletons designed to help patients regain movement. As robotics advance, China says it will continue expanding the technology's role in improving quality of life and creating new opportunities for rehabilitation and assisted living. Turkmenistan has opened a world-class sports science research center at the State Institute of Physical Culture and Sports, the first facility of its kind in Central Asia. The center uses technology employed by leading sports powers, including Italian BotPod and Cosmet systems, speed court performance analysis, and high-altitude simulation equipment used by elite athletes in Austria. The center is also open to students and academic departments, developing a new generation of specialists in sports medicine and biomechanics. Turkmenistan has prioritized Olympic excellence, earning 538 medals at international championships last year, and celebrating its first Olympic podium in Tokyo when Polina Gurieva won silver in weightlifting. China will launch a series of scientific satellite missions between 2026 and 2030, focusing on exploring the origins of the universe, the sun's magnetic cycle, and Earth-like exoplanets. Officials announced the plan at the press conference in Beijing, highlighting key programs such as the Hongmeng Initiative, the KUAFU 2 Observatory, and an Earth-like planet search mission. Scientists say they aim to achieve breakthroughs in understanding the cosmic dark age, space weather, and the possibility of life on exoplanets. China successfully launched the Shenzhou 22 spaceship from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northern western Gansu, marking the first emergency launch mission in the country's manned space program. Officials say the launch demonstrates China's growing readiness to conduct rapid response operation in space, a capability considered crucial for future astronaut safety and station maintenance. The mission will support the Chinese space station and advance preparations for long-term human operations in low Earth orbit. Further details about the crew and mission objectives are expected to be released in the coming days. UNESCO and the government of Tunisia have launched a 5-year program called Supporting the Role of Culture in Sustainable Development, aimed at strengthening the integration of culture into national development policies. The project announced in Tunis follows a cooperation agreement signed in Paris in 2024, which includes the creation of public funds to support heritage preservation, creative industries, and the transfer of traditional knowledge and craft. Officials say the program will help safeguard Tunisia's cultural assets while supporting job creation and community development. It also aims to inspire new cultural policy that align with long-term sustainable goals. At the 2025 Tropical Coastal City Tourism event in Sanya, Maldives, Representative and PATA board member Shuri urged coastal cities to prioritize resilience in their tourism development strategies. He said the Maldives experiences, from single island resort models to community based guest house tourism, offer lessons for other coastal destinations facing growing climate risk. Jury emphasized the need for balanced development that protects environments while supporting local communities. He also highlighted ongoing Maldivian investments in coastal defenses, elevated reclamation projects, and strict environmental standards. Officials say that the future of coastal tourism will depend on long term planning, inclusive growth, and climate resilient infrastructure.
On our third segment, the Indonesian government launched a nationwide transport discount program for the 2025 Christmas and 2026 New Year holidays to boost public mobility and economic activity. Meanwhile, from Japan, the annual Tori no Ichi Festival got underway at Otori Shrine in Tokyo's Asakusa district, drawing crowds of business owners and tourists looking to buy a traditional lucky rake. The government has announced the discounted transportation program for the 2025 Christmas and 2026 New Year holiday will run from 21 November 2025. The program involves a joint ministerial decree with transportation, finance, state-owned enterprises, and Danantara authorities providing discounts for air, train, sea, and ferry. PT KAI offers a 30% discount for economy class commercial trains. Pelni provides a 20% base fare reduction for economy class sea passengers, and ASDP grants full exemptions on port service fees. Airlines also apply 13 to 14% discounts supported by extended airport operating hours. The Ministry of Tourism has arranged 42 events in major destinations, while the Education Ministry set school holidays for 22 December 2025 to 3 January 2026 to encourage family travel. The exhibition features tea-ware spanning from the Song dynasty to the modern era, with visitors able to view ware pieces including a black dragon-themed cup stand. Contemporary works such as a bamboo tea box showcase a modern take on the country's most famous drink, blending art history with present-day expression. Artist Yan Yung says she uses wood from Hong Kong's fallen trees as their curved shape grows toward the sunlight and creates distinct textures. She also makes tea racks inspired by the Song dynasty while keeping a contemporary angle, allowing audiences to link modern life with the old times. The exhibition opens Wednesday with no end date announced. Iburigako is a local specialty smoked before being pickled in a mixture of rice bran and salt, creating a distinct aroma and crisp texture. Farmers in the region produce it at home as winter approaches, with the air filled by the smell of smoked radish. The Takahashi couple, both in their 80s, have about 1,000 daikon hanging in their smokehouse and say smoking takes 3 days before 2 months of pickling. They say this year's harvest turned out well despite low rainfall and recommend hollowing out the pickles and stuffing them with cheese. Smoking will continue until mid-December. After the inauguration, the Prime Minister visited the Mahabharata Anubhav Kendra, an immersive experience center showcasing major events from the Mahabharata, with installations highlighting its cultural depth, spiritual value, and ongoing relevance in Indian heritage. Prime Minister Modi then participated in a special program marking the 350th Shahidi Divas of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, honoring the sacrifices and teachings of the ninth Sikh Guru. The event paid tribute to his unmatched courage and commitment to protecting religious freedom. Snows in the past few days have turned many places in northern China into winter wonderlands and drawn flocks of visitors. The Mingsha Mountain and Crescent Spring Scenic Area in Dunhuang City, Gansu Province, had its first snow this winter on Sunday, blanketing the famous tourist attractions. The snow turned the usually golden sand dunes into white, creating a scene woven with yellow reeds and a spring in the snowy desert. Early winter snows have also draped a white coat over the Kunlun Mountains in Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, where snow-clad ridges sparkle in majestic tranquility. The Abu Dhabi Natural History Museum, the largest in the Middle East, opened to the public on Saturday, spanning 13.8 billion years of natural history and inviting visitors to trace the origins of the universe and the evolution of life on Earth. Exhibits include interactive installations and rare specimens, with Deputy Director Phil Manning explaining that the journey begins at the Big Bang, moves through the age of dinosaurs, continue into life after them in the Baiyuna Formation, and ends with biodiversity today and human responsibility toward nature. A highlight of the museum is the Murchison meteorite, a space rock that fell in Australia in 1969, containing amino acids, sugars, and material older than the solar system, which Manning said sums up the museum as it represents the building blocks of life. And that concludes our episode for this week. I'm Uli Herdi. Thank you for watching and goodbye.